Yo, what's going on YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and today we are going to be taking a look in the Eastern Conference and the Metro at the Carolina Hurricanes as we continue our season preview videos. So if you have not watched the rest of our videos, of course after this video, go back and watch the rest of the season preview videos we've done already. We're going in alphabetical order, so we're working our way through the National Hockey League. So today we're looking at the Hurricanes after a really good season last year that, again, ended in disappointment in the playoffs. The Carolina Hurricanes took care of business in the first round, beating the Islanders, and then they couldn't find a way to get to the second. Well, they couldn't find a way to get to the conference finals. So Carolina is the type of team that you really want to see them do well, but it just hasn't worked out. And with some of the things that have happened in the offseason, we're kind of left wondering, are the Carolina Hurricanes still a team that can win the Metro Division? And it seems like with the rise of the Devils expected this season and the Rangers still kind of holding on, where does Carolina sit in this spot? And they seem like a team that's maybe still better than teams like the Flyers and the Blue Jackets and the Islanders and the Penguins. But are they better than those teams like the Devils and the Rangers? And that's going to be kind of the question we're going to be asking ourselves, and we're probably going to get an answer to at some point in 2025. So, the Carolina Hurricanes were able to keep Marty Necas. I think that was a huge keep for them. There was a lot of rumors he might get traded, he might get sent out. That's all gone. Necas is staying with Carolina. And then there was talk about, maybe who else could they bring in or keep from the deadline. So, Dmitry Orlov, still a member of the Hurricanes. Sean Walker, he's a part of the Carolina Hurricanes. And Shane Gostisbehere comes in, and he will be staying with the Hurricanes next season. So there's a lot of things to like about the Carolina Hurricanes in terms of some of the moves they made, despite losing some depth, losing guys like Teuvo Teravainen, and even some guys that have been around for a long time, like Stefan Noesen, no longer there. So let's just run through the top six. So you've got Svechnikov, Aho, and Jarvis. No change there. Bradley Nadeau. So that's with the loss of Teravainen. We see a guy like Nadeau jump into the lineup. Jesperi Kotkaniemi and Marty Necas. That's your second line. Then your third line, you've got new addition William Carrier, Jack Roslovic, who they saw in the playoffs against the New York Rangers, and Jack Drury. And then the fourth line, you've got Tyson Jost, Jordan Staal, and Jordan Martinook. So an interesting group there. Really, the only real changes there, Bradley Nadeau jumping in for Teravainen in the top six, William Carrier and Jack Roslovic kind of replacing guys like Stefan Noesen in the top, or in that third line, and then Tyson Jost coming in on the fourth line, which at this point is a depth scoring piece. Defense, you've got Jacob Slavin and Brent Burns. That's staying the same. Orlov and Walker. A little bit of a change there with, what's his name, no longer there. Brendan Smith. Who's the defenseman that they just lost? It's not Brendan Smith. But you guys will know what I'm talking about. I think it's Pesce. Yeah, Pesce. So Brett Pesce's no longer there. He's usually there on the right side. That will be Sean Walker's spot now, which is not, Walker is not Brett Pesce, but that's not a bad replacement, especially with the salary cap considerations. That's not bad. I apologize for that, guys. It's been a long offseason. Shane Gostisbehere and Chatfield is your third pair, and that's okay. I don't love it, but it works. It's serviceable, and for the depth that the Hurricanes have, it's not the biggest deal. Freddie Anderson and Kochetkov is the goaltending tandem. No changes there. And I think that's something that a lot of people are there was some criticism for, and rightfully so, because I think for the Hurricanes, you look at this team, there's enough depth there, there's enough good pieces on the blue line. Really the question is, how do the guys like Bradley Nadeau, William Carrier, and Tyson Jost, and Roslovic, how do they fit in? Because Nadeau is a rookie. William Carrier, I think, is the best addition they had this offseason because we know what we're getting from Carrier, right? A little bit of an overpayment, but you know what you're getting out of him. Roslovic was on the scratch pad during the playoffs for the Rangers, especially during that series against Carolina. So, a guy that was a scratch pad player for the Rangers is now in your top 9 on the Hurricanes. I don't know about that. That's not the Hurricanes offense we've seen over the last couple of years. So that's an interesting move. And then Tyson Yost, similar story. He's been bouncing around the league. He played for Buffalo, Colorado. I think he played in Minnesota for a little bit. He's been bouncing around the league because he hasn't found his spot. So now he comes into Carolina. Three kind of guys that are really either guys like Roslovic and Yost who are struggling at the NHL level, and then Nadeau, who is coming in for his first year. So there's just a lot of unprovens for Carolina, and that's why there is that sense of maybe Carolina falls off a little bit this season. So looking at the defense, like I said, I like some of the pieces there. The goaltending has always been an issue, not during the regular season, but during the playoffs. Carolina's goaltending has not come up clutch enough during the playoffs, and that's one of the reasons that they have not gotten to that promised land of winning a Stanley Cup in Carolina with this current group and Brind'Amour. They just have not been able to put it together for a full 16 games during a playoff run. So considering those things haven't really changed, and the fact that this is a team that now is known as a good team during the regular season, but can't get it done when it matters in the playoffs. They get past the first round and the second round sometimes, but they aren't able to win that Stanley Cup. And that perception probably won't change this year. And here's the thing I will say about the Hurricanes, and I'm going to give my prediction here. I do believe they still make the playoffs, which isn't flattering for Hurricanes fans because they've heard this story before. They are a team that makes the playoffs, absolutely. And the way this division is laid out, I still think they are better than teams like the Islanders and the Penguins and the Flyers and the Blue Jackets, but are they good enough to be the big boy in the Metro like they were 2, 3, 4 years ago? Not necessarily on that board at the moment. But because the Carolina Hurricanes haven't done it before, don't get it twisted, doesn't necessarily mean that they can't do it this year. They might have the right perfect blend and combination, and they get hot at the right time, and they get the right momentum boost toward the end of the season where things fall into place. Listen, back in November of last year, going into this past season, Carolina was about like, whoa, what is going on here? They were about to blow things up. And next thing you know, they almost won the division. So it's one of those things where you know what you've got with a Brind'Amour team. You know the system you're going to be up against. It's can you match it and can you play against it? And for a full 60-minute game. But like I said, just because Carolina hasn't won a Stanley Cup yet or hasn't gone to the Stanley Cup final yet isn't necessarily indicative of that they can't do it in 2025. So that's my optimism for my Hurricanes fans out there. But I still have them making the playoffs, 104 points. Technically, they would finish third in the division, so they wouldn't have home ice advantage. They would probably be playing the Devils or the Rangers on the road in the first round of the playoffs, but let's get there first. Let's get there first. Like I said, I do believe they are one of the three teams in that division, but for Hurricanes fans, that's not enough. Like, they don't care. They want to win the Stanley Cup, and I get that. So we'll see how things go for Carolina. Let me know what you guys think down below. A lot of you guys had them missing the playoffs, which I thought was really interesting. I don't know. I think it's going to be an interesting season for Carolina, but I do expect them to get in. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below as always. Make sure to watch the rest of our season preview videos as always. Stay tuned for our fall merch. We're going to be dropping that on our spring shop here over the next couple weeks. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel, following the community tab for votes and things like that as we get back to the regular season. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again next time. Peace out, guys.